It has arrived, Bitcoin, almost perfect timing, almost perfectly at its target. This is Bitcoin on the hourly. It's all coming to fruition. And yes, it's all happening in just such nice consistency, even amidst headlines like this. Fed raises interest rates a quarter point despite recent banking turmoil. It is so that even in a week, a month, 3 months from now, today, March 22nd, 2023, the markets will have forgotten about this headline. It will have been priced into the markets, and markets are reacting how they're going to react right now. We got to let them. But one thing is true as we look into this technical analysis, targets are being hit, consistencies are being maintained, and emotions, as far as I'm concerned, are 100% pushed aside as we track this. So let's discuss what is next for Bitcoin in the very short term as this move progresses. Where is support? Where are targets? More importantly, in this video, I actually want to zoom out and talk about why this move is so similar to a move we saw in 2019. So hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and let's just dig into what's going on in the Bitcoin chart. So first things first, to lay some groundwork, and we've been tracking this, I think, really nicely, the rising channel Bitcoin broke out of. We are anticipating $28,000, $29,000, $30,000 resistance. Got it over the course of the last few days or so. And you can just see from that area, we're getting the throwback that we've talked about time and time again on this YouTube channel. We break out of patterns, and oftentimes we get throwbacks to upper trend lines. The move is happening right now. I'm not going to show a clip because I've probably showed that clip so many times already, but the throwback is happening as we speak right now on the daily. It is kind of an event that's triggering it, and that is so normal when we're tracking the charts. It's so normal when we're tracking patterns and setups. At the end of the day, no matter what the headlines are, if there are headlines or not headlines, it's human beings behind these charts. And that's why we see just repetition. Even on volatile days, high fear days, we see repetition. So here's what I'm watching for on the short term. The target has been hit, right? We just discussed in a video, this was 2 days ago, about the target being hit. Again, I'm not going to show you a clip, but this is that video from 2 days ago. We have this arrow, this breakout to the downside taking us, you see this dotted line, this dotted trend line. That's the key area. It was around $26,500 or so when I was recording that video. We go to the hourly chart. The breakout came to the downside days later, obviously, so we're a little higher in this lower trend line. But we've pretty much fallen right now as I do the video to this target. Now, what is right below Bitcoin? It's this area. This is the throwback area we were waiting for Bitcoin, and it's happening right now. So what I'll be watching in the very immediate short term is how does Bitcoin interact with that area? And this trend line's right around $26,500. Is there going to be support now that we've hit our target? Is there going to be support now that we're hovering just above that trend line? And I think, because I'm on an hourly chart, I think what would probably be most important is to just evaluate as I record this video, the next 4 hours or so. Really curious to see how this Bitcoin daily candle interacts with this upper trend line. Does Bitcoin kind of maybe wick below that trend line but close above it? These are some things I'll be watching for on the short term. And just in doing so, if we get support, we'd be looking for a continuation for Bitcoin. We'd be looking for a bounce off this area of support to the upside, even if it's just kind of trickling upwards, higher highs and higher lows on the shorter term. One thing to note real quick on the RSI is this. Bitcoin, a lot of room to the downside, and this is kind of a segue to the next part of the video, which is evaluating whether or not support actually does hold at this area. Just because we're getting the throwback, this is where we see the test. This is the test now. We're getting the throwback to the trend line, but just because we're getting it doesn't mean it's going to hold. So what we're evaluating is whether or not we get a bullish confirmation of support and a bounce off the area, or is Bitcoin going to close the daily candle below and actually start falling? Because I want to explore what that looks like. And this kind of takes me back to 2019. If you've been watching these videos, you know, and probably many others, just kind of watching Bitcoin in this move on the weekly, this explosive move, namely out of the bear market as a whole, very similar to what happened last time around. And we've kind of brought Bitcoin, or compared Bitcoin to where it was in May 2019, breaking away from the 50-week moving average. I want to dig into what was happening here because it is very similar to what's happening right now on the Bitcoin daily chart. And this is what the daily chart looks like. So let's go to the Bitcoin daily chart back then in 2019 in that May 2019 move. look at this move. This is the move that I really want to highlight. It's right in the middle of May 15th or so. You can see Bitcoin just making moves to the upside. And again, here's the weekly chart. This is where we're looking mid-May, back here, mid-May, weekly chart going parabolic and still a lot of upside. But it's the daily chart. In that move, we see Bitcoin actually falling around 25%, a 25% dip over the course of a couple days. But what's important about that move, if we look at this, is you can see Bitcoin was very much getting overextended here from these moving averages, the 20-day, the 50-day. You can just see Bitcoin's just having a really nice move and it gets pulled back in. This is what we see so often when Bitcoin really starts separating from key moving averages like the 20 and 50-day. We go to the daily chart here. Look what's been happening, right? We have Bitcoin getting some nice separation from the 20, the 50-day. Anytime that happens, I think it's wise to anticipate Bitcoin being pulled into those moving averages. And it looks two ways. It looks, number one, it could look like what we just saw back in that 2019 chart, just kind of a couple days and quick capitulation to test that support and bounce off of it. Or the other thing that it looks like is this. We go back to the daily. It could look like Bitcoin just seeing support at this area, but then kind of just sideways and making everybody second guess what's the next move for Bitcoin. But while that's happening and we're seeing maybe confirmed support above this upper trend line, we have the moving averages being pulled back into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin getting, just kind of closing in on that separation that we see there and kind of ending that overextension from the moving averages. Now, maybe we get a 2019 style drop, right? And Bitcoin fails at support. And this is what I'd be watching for. I'd be watching for that 50 and 20-day moving average area, because if we look at it, it's a very key support area for Bitcoin, right around 24,000 and 23,500, $24,000. We take our higher low Fibonacci now, swing low to swing high, and check this out. Just below that area, we have this new higher low Fibonacci. This is that area of just support if Bitcoin's really going to start falling, and it's just below these moving averages. So this is the area, if Bitcoin is going to pull a 2019 move, what kind of just support, what kind of pop, what kind of bounce do we get off of this entire region? And it really does go down to just below $22,000 at the 786. But I think that 20-day moving average around 24,000 and the 50-day around 23,500 is a good area to evaluate if the support at this upper trend line fails. Because right now we are in the middle of Bitcoin testing that area in this throwback. And what does that throwback look like? Once again, just a really nice move out of this ascending triangle to the downside. And Bitcoin just kind of hitting the target perfectly, trying to put in a green candle right now, but this means nothing as I recorded this video. We'll evaluate, we'll see how this hourly candle goes, but this hourly candle could just kind of fail and we could keep falling. The support right now around 26,500 is what I'm watching in the short term. We know the targets to the downside, but really the key area to watch is, will there be support in this general vicinity? That's what I'm watching, everybody. At the end of the day, I think we zoom out on these charts. Here's a daily chart, zoom out on Bitcoin. Bitcoin doing its thing as we pivot and exit this bear market that we just lived through. So we have to allow the volatility to take place, especially when we have headline days like this. So that's what I'm watching today, everybody. Hit that subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will see you in the next video. God bless.